Hey Warlords, it's the DarkBriton here. We're about to kick off our top 10 arcs. Now hit that intro.
Oh yeah! Yo whoa ho, yo whoa ho.
Not gonna lie, this is such a dope mix.
Okay, so today we're going through our top 10 One Piece arcs. I guess the manga. Yeah, we're not going through like
Yeah,
filler
like
in the anime.
the big thing behind that is there are a couple of actually fairly decent arcs in the anime. I'm not to say that it would probably make the top 10 list, but at least have to be considered,
Yeah, like
especially in our ranking system.
G7, right? When they followed from Skypiea and they land in the Marine
Yeah,
base.
and the one Marine is pretty dope. And then actually more recently, before they got to Whole Cake, they had another one at another military facility in the anime, which
Oh, right.
I found was pretty fun.
Okay.
I
So-
can't remember what it was called, but I liked it.
Nice. So how we did this is we both Britt and I, listed our top 10 favorite arcs, and then I added them together and divided by 2, and got a smorgasbord of numbers. And well, it's very complicated. Okay, I have an associate's degree, so I had it under control the whole time.
Oh yeah, I trust my senpai for it. And also, for just a preface, for I know a lot of people have keep up with the One Piece top tens. In this, Water 7 and Annie's Lobby we combined just because we both thought that they were both good separately, but as a whole, I feel like they're more complete.
Yes.
And we'll definitely talk about that arc when we get there.
The arc starts and ends when your heart, how your heart feels it does. I think that's gonna be that's how we're going to do this.
Should really write poetry, senpai.
All right, let's get right into it. Okay. Number 10 is Zoe.
Really?
Yeah. So you rated that at a no,
Zoe
you
was
didn't.
in roughly my top 15, maybe. There are a lot of really clutch moments, Raizo is safe being one of them. And now, in retrospect, now that we know about Kanjuro, we can go back, and that's a really good arc to really start digging into the details of Oda's little hints and stuff.
Yeah, a big reason I really like Zoe, honestly. I just have such a bad taste in my mouth for Whole Cake, and Zoe was just a great, or sorry, not Whole Cake, Dressrosa. It was just like, such a great arc to go into, like a nice breath of fresh air, new adventure, tons of great information. I love the road poneglyphs. I love the design of a cat viper Nekomamushi. The whole part was it just really good looking anime, or sorry, really good looking panels when I was reading that.
Yeah, and just with the intro of the other scabbards, we start to learn about Odin and True Talk, which is funny now that we actually got to see Odin. When I first pictured him, I thought he was like a nerdy type researcher, which was just the farthest from how
Oh yeah,
Odin actually turned out.
because
Yeah,
of the
because those
poneglyphs.
when we first, yep. Well, those when we first heard about him, really, because that's when Kinemon was like, "This is Momo. He's actually our lord. His father was our master. He's not my son." Because up until then, up in Punk Hazard in Dressrosa, it was father son.
Sure. Yeah. So that one kicks off at a number 10, and the big reasons for
Yep,
that
and then
is yeah. Go ahead.
say in my personal list, I had Amazon Lily at 10. And just to defend it, because it didn't make the official Warlords top 10, but I had Amazon Lily at my 10 because one, I am a degenerate, and I'll admit that. And Amazon Lily was very fun to read through. Low key,
Yeah, they're pulling Luffy's mushroom off, trying to.
right? Well, that just the humor there. It was one of the real instances of hockey before we got into Marineford because their arrows could pierce it, and we had no idea how. And it was when Luffy first hit his King's hockey because he knocked out half the stadium, and that was the first time we saw it. And thinking back and watching it and reading it, I was so confused because I had no idea. We had no idea what King's hockey was at that point.
Sure. Yeah. We
So
knew
that's why
something
I
was
had
up with the animals because he kept on skidding out animals, right?
we saw the hints in the lead up to Saba Odi when he like knocked out an ox or something. He like intimidated it, but we never actually saw Luffy like forcibly knock people out. And that was the first time, and it was like, what?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why Amazon Lily was in my top 10. Was
Okay.
my number 10.
Well, let's finish out
And
like the Zoe discussion here, and then we'll go on to number 9.
okay,
So I just want to say a couple things about Zoe. Is that I just remember the panel where Luffy's looking over like the whole city, like how detailed that was, and I just remember thinking, "Dang, this is looking good."
what?
And yeah, just the detail, just how much cool story information is hidden in there, and yeah, so that's
Introduction
why.
to a whole new species of people.
Sure. Okay. All right. That's number 10. Let's go to number 9.
Sure, it was universal, right?
Number 9 was Universal at Thriller Bark. Okay.
I'm gonna
Yep.
start that one off.
Yeah, I got that because I used to not like Thriller Bark because I don't really like the whole zombie thing. I don't really subscribe to that. Like I didn't really like Invader Zim. I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe I'm like a little bit like racist against like emo
You're
kind of stuff.
anti-emo.
Yeah, but now I'm getting a little older and I'm starting to really respect it because it's a really nice self-contained arc and we're going up against another warlord and we need to, there's some great
Dude,
moments in it. And yeah, so it definitely deserves number 9.
for me, there was one. It was two warlords because that was when Bartholomew Kuma came in at the very end. We had our awesome Zoro moment of nothing happened. There was the introduction of Brook. While Brook's not my favorite Straw Hat, his addition to the crew is just so fun. One adds an older element, two different powers, three another swordsman, all of that. And then, of course, the tie-in to Laboon, which is absolutely insane because that was one of the first big tie-ins from Oda. Is just like, hey, remember that from like 500 chapters ago? Oh yeah, here's a nice little segue to that because we
Insane.
find out that he was the crew that Laboon was waiting for.
Yeah. My another big one is the whole everything that happens to Zoro. I love it when Zoro gets a sword. I just like the idea of just like he gets an upgrade, and that's always cool to watch. Him sacrificing himself for the captain is one of the best. I think maybe top 3 moments for me in One Piece because
Oh
it
yeah,
just shows how dedicated the crew is, and Zoro embodies what the crew feels. Yeah.
and now that I think about it, that was also the first time we heard about Wano because he fought Ryuma for Shushui.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're right.
We got Wano way, way long ago.
Hmm.
So yeah, overall, Thriller Bark is just a really good standalone, but it has so many connections to everything else. Because even with Lola was our first discussion of Big Mom.
First discussion of Big Mom, we find out how the don't we find out how the Beaver cards work at that point?
Yes.
Um, and hey, we get some more treasure. At the end, all the zombies accidentally throw all the treasure on the Sunny, and they're like, "Where did all this come from?" And they're like, "I don't know, but someone's really nice." It's like, nope, that emo chick just got yeeted by by Kuma.
And now that you remind me about Perona, the emo chick,
Perona.
One of Usopp's. Actually, Usopp has so many amazing moments, but this was like his first big one when all of her ghosts make everyone negative, and then all of a sudden he's just like, "You can't make me negative because I'm already negative," and she's just like, "What?"
Yeah, and she cheers him on. She goes, "Come on, I believe in you, Gambare."
Stop trying to make me feel. Yeah. So overall, it was an amazing Usopp moment.
Yeah, and he has his backwards hat on for 2 episodes in the anime, which is his coolest look yet. I wish they'd bring that back. He just had a baseball cap backwards, and I thought that was a cool fit.
Kabuto outfit kind of resembles that.
Well, all right. Number 9 was Thriller Bark. Okay, number 8. So let's see. How do I put this? This one's a wild card, okay? Because
Okay, I'm interested.
this one's a wild card just because I ranked it so high and you did not. So it's number 8, and it's Logtown.
Okay, and that's fair because Logtown had was a good send off into the Grand Line, and we got introduced to Smoker and Dragon.
Right. But my big things again is when Zoro gets upgraded. I just love that when he's at that sword shop and he's flipping Kaitetsu the third in the air, and everyone's like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, you're a rookie, and then they're like, oh no, he knows what the hell he's talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, like for me, Logtown it was good. It was funny. We had Luffy reuniting with Buggy and Buggy following him into the new world and all that. It it didn't make my top 10. I had a different 8, which I'll talk about in a bit, and try and defend a bit. But yeah, overall Logtown was solid.
Yeah, I just want to talk about Smoker for a second because it's our first glimpse into like, hey, there's some really strong people here. Like, there's people that you can't even touch. Like, and who's this guy? And introduces Dragon. It's like, who's this guy that can touch Smoker? This invincible Logia type. We didn't know it was Logia at the time, but yeah. Like,
So that was our first introduction to the Logia Devil Fruit.
Right, and it's cool to think about what role Smoker has in the series because is he going to be the new, like when the series is over? Is he going to be the what do they call the
Fleet Admiral?
No, like the Admiral, right? The Fleet Admiral, right?
Admiral is Sengoku and Akainu.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I wonder what Oda has planned for Smoker if he has his goals that high, because we know that Kobe wants to be an admiral, but who's going to be the Fleet Admiral? Is it going to be Smoker? I don't know. Maybe he'll be yeah.
Sure.
So it's just interesting to see these big characters come to life in Logtown.
So, and then can I go ahead and talk about my number 8 real quick? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, number 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my personal number 8 at this I had at Drum Island. Recently just reread it. Overall, this is a completely subjective pick for me. Chopper's not necessarily my favorite, but I do love his dynamic. When he was revealed to have 4 extra forms, I believe, I was just like Luffy. Was just like, he has extra transformations? Like, what? So, and then overall, just the comedy. A great moment of Luffy climbing the drum mountain for Nami.
Yeah, that lasts forever. It's so...
and starting it off when they first met Dalton and he had shot Vivi. Vivi was like, Luffy, you're a disgrace. You're a captain. Everyone trusts you. How can you keep us safe? And he's like, you're right. I was wrong. So that was one of the first times we see Luffy like actually growing as a captain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Also, we get the hiking bear. We get some really good jokes. They find out that you're supposed to yeah. Bow to the hiking bear and be polite. And so in the next, in the next couple pages, a big elderly woman walks by and they bow respectfully because they don't want the bear to attack them either.
Very true.
Anyway, a reason that I didn't have it in the top, not to diss on Drum Island, but in my opinion, it's one of the ugliest, like as far as drawing styles. Like Chopper looks
that's fair,
awful.
But keep in mind, this was pre-time skip, and it was a winter island, so there wasn't really much to draw.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
I'm just saying all the character designs are just not very fun. Like they're like Wapple isn't like a super I don't know, he's not a super interesting villain. He's very one noted. So that's one of the reasons that it wasn't top for me.
And that's fair. Mm-hmm. That's very fair.
Okay. So cool. Number where are we at right now? Oh yeah, that was number 8. So number 8 is Logtown. All right, number 7. Dressrosa. Now this one is highly contested between you and me.
Yeah, because I had it at my personal number 4.
Yeah, I have it way down. In fact, let's see. Yeah, so we don't have Whole Cake on this top 10 because Whole Cake and Dressrosa are like, man, those arcs just really slagged for me, and That maybe
That's
just
fair.
because that's when I like really caught up at Punk Hazard, but Whole Cake and Big Mom, or anyway, blah blah blah, is a really stressful arc for me to get through. But why did you like it so much?
So the reason I liked Dressrosa so much was, again, watching the anime was a complete slog to get through, but it raised an opinion for me because I was able to binge the manga at that point, which was after watching the anime. Biggest things for me, I love the implementation of the Grand Fleet. I believe, a personal note, me and Drew met a couple of years ago, and I hadn't watched Luffy get the Grand Fleet in the anime yet, and Drew had given me a little hint of there's something big's gonna happen, just and was like, okay, random person I just met, and then he gets his Grand Fleet, and it's like, what? Luffy has a fleet now? So like that's a very memorable thing for me as far as Dressrosa. Um, Viola, absolutely amazing. Don, we got to see Quixote Don Flamingo, which was by far one of the best villains I've seen. The absolute madness with the was it Sugar's Devil Fruit canceling, and then by far one of Usopp's greatest moments, the $5 million bounty on Usopp's head, or 5-star bounty on his head.
Sure.
Like overall, granted, it was very, very long, and if you watch it week to week, it can completely be a slog. I understand that. But in a more compact setting, the story is just so good, and just all the Grand Fleet characters. Like Barto is by far the biggest surprise ever because you meet him and you think, oh, this guy's a complete tool, and he's the biggest Luffy fanboy of all time. And we also got to see Sabo.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw that one coming, but we just didn't know where. And I remember seeing that, like, oh, here it is. And yeah, I did feel that was a good moment there.
And are we good? Are you good with Dressrosa?
Yeah,
Because
I just want to say one more thing about Dressrosa, which is that I remember watching the anime and then Gear 2 and 3, like when I saw that, I was like, man, that'd have been so cool to witness that, like when it first came out, like the speculation. And I got my way because then they introduced Gear 4, and I just remember like, yes, I can find. It's like one of those big moments you get to witness live, and that was.
Oh yeah, that's really cool.
So number 7, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Number 7, but also my personal number 7 was Whole Cake, which was basically introduction to Smoothie, Katakuri. Big Mom is by far one of my favorite Yonko. Honestly, just because her fighting style and her character is insane. I don't like the musicals, which is why it was lower for me. But overall, and we included the Reverie in this.
Mm-hmm.
I included it, so that's why it was 7 for me.
Okay. All right, let's move it right on up to number 6. Number 6.
It was number 6, I wonder.
Okay. And Alabasta. So Alabasta was my number 1, and not even on your list. So go ahead.
Not even on.
Let's hear the negative first, because this is when I fell in love with One Piece.
I'm one of the few One Piece fans that dislikes Vivi. She is just nagging. I understand how she fit. Her and Nami were really close. She made Luffy grow as a character, but just like quick example of a tsundere is I just not a fan. Yes, ton of cool moments, lots of cool moments, but like when and it was also one of the first times that I didn't like the trope that Oda introduced, which you think that someone dies and they really didn't, and it kind of took away from Pell's quote unquote death when he actually just came back after surviving a nuclear explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Then also it kind of dragged on for me when I was younger, and that's how I really remember it.
Wow. Oh, wow. So you watched... Yeah, maybe I haven't even thought of that, because that was a long time ago that Alabasta came out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the reason that's my number 1 is, I'm is my first of all, One Piece is my first anime that I ever watched. Like kind of like really got into. And I remember going through like those first, I think it's like 100 episodes before you get to Alabasta. And I remember thinking like, okay, all right, I'm watching. And this is when I became a fan of One Piece, is because first of all, the art style completely changes in Alabasta. Everyone looks a little sexier. Everyone's looking like, there's a costume change. We don't get the same 2D version of Luffy with the red shirt. We get like a little bit more. But the big reason is there's this scene where Luffy and Vivi are arguing. And Vivi goes, what else do you want me to sacrifice? Do you want me to... I can only give my life. What else do you want from me? And Luffy says, you can risk our lives as well. And we always see this from Luffy from then on. But he punches Vivi. And it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing? You're punching a girl? But it's because Luffy has so much respect for Vivi. She's like a part of the... it's just... Luffy has his emotions on his sleeve. And he's able to give all he can to his friends. And I think that was like one of those big moments. I was like, yep, I'm a One Piece fan. There you go.
Mine was Arlong Park for me.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so that's Alabasta, my favorite arc. And you're not even in your top 10. You just didn't like it. But yeah, no, beautiful art style. We get introduced to Ace, and we get to learn about the poneglyphs. So there you go. Number 6.
And at number 6 on my personal list, I had Skypiea.
Okay. Well, let's move it on to number 5. Now, this was this was really close to Alabasta, but it's not. It is Arlong Park at number 5.
Oh, and that's my personal list too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Right. I can live with that.
Yeah, we were pretty close on Arlong, because Arlong was number 6 and you're number 5, so we got pretty close on that. What did you like about it?
Arlong Park for me, first Usopp moment when he actually realizes everyone else is putting their lives on the line. Nami, and this is again one of the reasons why I'm a Nami fan. The issue with her stabbing herself, and he's just like, tell me what to do, and she's like, go away, and he's like, I won't do that. She's like, I need your help, and he's like, he puts his treasure on her head, and then I'm getting goosebumps right now even talking about it. And then I'm just like, of course I will. You get to see your sister Nojiko, so that's enough of a reason to put it in the top 5.
Dude,
anyway, because she's top 5 woman for me.
Number 2. I don't even know who number 1 is, but
we'll do that list next.
No, I'm with you.
That'll be another list.
Dude, I like me a bad girl.
Tattoos, and we got to see her backstory, and we got to see Bellamere. I adore Bellamere as a character. She had her full arc.
Yeah,
and everything. So,
okay, so
and we got the references to Jinbei too.
That's true. Yosaku. He says, he says that he let Arlong loose on the world. He rescued him from prison. Weird. Who's this Jinbei guy?
Who's this Jinbei guy? So it's just Oda dropping these ideas and hints and lists years and years and years ahead of when it actually comes to fruition.
Okay, so for me, the reason that I ranked it like that is because I ranked it at my number 6, is because my favorite parts of One Piece are just looking at Luffy be like his moral center, and then the second part is just the crew. I just like the crew working together. That's like my favorite part. And when you first start watching the series, you watch that intro card and you see the crew kind of all together, but it takes a while for them to get to that point. But dang, when they're marching on Arlong Park, bum, bum, bum,
sure that was the first time it happened too, wasn't it?
I think so. And I actually, that it's called the March on Arlong, isn't it?
So yeah, then it is the first time that happened.
Yeah, and it's the crew. These are the main characters of the story. Okay, full stop. Oda, there's an interview where he's saying that this is where he was planning on stopping it if the series didn't take off. Is Arlong Park.
Pretty sure that's when it started getting opened up to other markets outside of Japan too.
Okay. Yeah. So number 5 is Arlong Park. Solid and solid. Yeah, they can't argue with that one. Okay. Number 4. Ba-ba-da-dum. Skypiea.
I am okay with that.
I'm okay with that as well. It was my number 3 and your number 6.
Yep, I'm definitely okay with that. So, having Skype with Skypiea here, my big thing was a great standalone arc again, and it's funny because I think a while earlier in the podcast you had mentioned one of the top 10 you didn't like at first. I did not like Skypiea at all to begin with.
Oh, sure.
But
Yeah.
it's after I got older and I was rereading and then just grasping just the humor. I, for instance, Luffy not being affected by the electricity. Like as a kid, I was like, all right, that's funny, but as an adult, you're just like, oh, grasping the situation. And then one of the Nami's biggest moments as showing her devotion to Luffy was when she drove her little scooter up the beanstalk, risking her own life, knowing that this is the one shot we have. I might die. You know, it's those straw hat moments that's like, we're going to put everything behind Luffy, knowing he's going to get it done at the risk to our own safety.
Sure. I mean, honestly, I mean, there's a bunch of great scenes from Skypiea. We learned about like kind of some of the Void Century, but the big reason I like it is simply Eneru. He has my favorite devil fruit.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
it's dope.
so cool. He instantly goes anywhere at the speed of light. I mean, his power is, in my opinion, better than Kizaru's. Like Kizaru
Oh,
has
yeah.
light beams, dude. The freaking guy can electrocute your butt all the way to the, all the way to the surface of the goddamn planet with a big thunderbolt. What do they call it?
Oh, yeah.
Raigu.
Yeah. And at the same time, he uses his hockey he uses it with his observation hockey, so that's how he can tell what people are saying all over the island.
Yeah.
And that's one of our first introductions to hockey. They called it mantra.
Mantra. Yes.
Mantra.
Yes.
Hockey.
Dials are really cool. Love the art style. I like Zoro's outfit the best because he has this like adventurer gear on, and it's just always cool to see everyone switch up their outfits. We see Robin fight for the first time.
Robin had like one of her first and only legitimate fights.
Um, that could be argued because dress or in anyway, there's a couple, but you're right. Like that's definitely the most
She was
concrete.
playing defense though. She was just protecting Rebecca.
Sure. Um, yeah, I can't really argue with that. Yeah, and we also see that like the Straw Hats are challenged, but it's like the big, we can see that the Straw Hat crew is freaking tough. Like a
Yeah.
lot of these guys aren't that much of a challenge. Like Zoro, the only reason that he even had a little bit of a challenge is because the guy could predict his moves. But once Zoro got a shot on him, it was done. Done.
That was also when he fought the dog that
Knock
the
yourself
dog
out.
the boxing dog. Knock yourself out. Poof. Just
He
drops.
listens to everything I say. All right. So number 4, Skypiea, solid. Okay, let's move on to our top 3. Okay.
Right.
Okay, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. So this one is Marineford.
I'm very surprised on your personal list it was a lot lower. Marineford is my number one, just because of the emotional aspect of it.
Yeah, you're
Like,
number 1, my number
one
8.
Ace dies. Yeah. One Ace dies, two Whitebeard dies on his feet like a man.
Mm-hmm.
It had intrigue. It was fast paced from start to finish, which in most arcs you just don't see at all. And it introduced us to one. We got to see all the warlords, and then we had to see all of the other admirals in their glory. And then just really get to understand the fear that Akainu poses. So, and of course, Blackbeard showing up at the very end with his um, taking 2 devil fruits. So that's why it was big #1 for me.
Like I said, my favorite parts of One Piece are the crew and Luffy, using his moral center, his moral compass. And we only get, Luffy using his moral compass the whole time. I mean, I like the fights too, but I just really like the philosophical and the team aspect of it. So that's why Marineford didn't hit me as hard, maybe as you. But still a really cool arc. Really like how we see Shanks come in at the end. He says, "Hey, if anyone wants to pick a fight, I'm here. Either you guys cut it out or you have to mess with me." So we kind of learned that Shanks has some kind of like he's definitely has some respect with the Marines, and we learn later that Shanks actually talks to the Gorosei sometimes, whatever deal that is. So there's definitely
Yeah.
some something in the background's happening here. Anyway, I want to think of something else I can say about Marineford. Do you have anything?
With Marineford, it really was just no, we covered it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Number 3, Marineford. Oh, also one last thing actually is there's no way that Hawkeye Mihawk was going 100% on Luffy in that battle. There's no way.
Maybe. Oh, we did get to see there is a pretty fun rivalry between Don Flamingo and Crocodile.
Yeah. What's up with that?
No idea. But I
Yeah.
know that they're rivals.
Okay. That's number 3.
And we got to see the best Nani moment with Garp as Luffy comes flying into the battle.
Oh,
I forgot
sure.
all about that.
That's
funny.
that's cool. He knocks out Kobe and then Garp, aka he's Luffy's following his heart, and you know what?
And
He'll punch you, but he doesn't hate you. He'll punch you, but he doesn't hate you. You know.
he also does the he unleashes King's Hockey again.
Yep, yep. He does that. He makes everyone faint, and everyone's like, "Whoa, okay, here's Luffy." Yeah, okay. Let's move it on. Number 2. Okay, if I thought that what was it? Dressrosa was a weird one. Like as far as like disparity. Saba Odi is a weird one because that's
Sorry,
our
number
number
two?
two. Is Saba Odi.
Okay, that's my number. That's my personal #2 as well, and I'm very happy about that because Saba Odi introduced my favorite One Piece character that I want to see a lot more, and that's Captain Kidd.
Oh, interesting.
I'm a
Okay.
huge Kidd stan.
Man, I my favorite punch in One Piece is when he punches that celestial dragon. And the anime they brought in a really famous artist to come and do that scene. Like when it goes to black and white. What is his name?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to come back to this some other day.
And,
But
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, just a beautiful part. We find out more about Hockey Rayleigh, and hey, Rayleigh knows where Raftala is and what the Void Century is about.
We also got my baby Saki too. Oh, whew. She might be old, but she get it.
Who?
Saki, Rayleigh's wife /
Oh,
girlfriend
right. Yep.
at the bar.
She's
It was the first time it ever worked. Brooke's like, "Can I see your what color is your panties?" And she's like, "Oh, today they're actually." It's just like, "Okay, girl."
yeah. Man, and obviously a big heartbreaking scene when all the straw hats get yeeted because
Oh yeah.
man, because I watched it subbed the first time, and Robin's voice actress does just a bone chilling performance.
Right, the Luffy. Oh
Luffy!
man.
It's like it's like we're gonna go through all of what we've been through, and then it's just ending like this, you know?
Yeah, and you would think it's the end of the entire anime because it happened so fast. You're just like, "What is going on?" And they're kicking butt. They're getting away. Luffy just had this amazing punch, and then all of a sudden, they're disappearing one by one, and you're just like, you don't have a chance to really grasp it until afterwards, and then you just feel like empty. It's just like, what happens?
Yeah. And it's weird that it's our number two, but it's just so solid and it's just a really nice part of the story. And you know what? Well, let's even include the part where they come back to Sabaody after the 2 years
Oh yeah,
because we get
and
to show
people
off some
rave about
powers.
that,
Hmm.
and it was really cool. But I wouldn't put it in my top 10 as a standalone.
Right. Do you think it's fair to put that part into the Sabaody? You know what I mean? Like just break the
Just
rules.
combine the Sabaodis.
Yeah. Let's break the rules here because yeah, we get to see how like Luffy takes out a pacifista in one hit. What a difference! So cool.
Zoro ends up mistakenly on a different galleon and slices it in half without even trying.
Yeah, it kind of reflects back onto when we first met Mihawk and chopped a freaking boat in half. We're like, oh my
Oh
god.
yeah,
Well, Zoro can do that too now. And why does Zoro
right.
have one eye right now? Weird.
Yeah, we never actually got the info on that. Some people think that's like some kind of Sharingan, like mystical thing, and I'm just like, or he just got slashed down his face.
Yeah.
Like it's a simple 2 year transition. So
I'm gonna have to research this more. But what happens if Zoro's already beaten Mihawk and he's going out
I,
to find the next best swordsman, which would be on Blackbeard's crew? That'd be insane.
Shiryu,
Or one of the Gorosei, the guy with the sword. He might be the best swordsman.
maybe,
Anyway,
maybe.
you good?
Yeah, I'm good on Sabaody, number 2.
Okay. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Number one. Number one. Yeah. I mean, I think it's process of elimination here. We don't have much. And yeah, of course it is. The arc where Luffy finds the pet dragon after Logtown. So yeah,
It's not Punk. Are you serious? It's Punk Hazard?
no, I'm just kidding. No. I was thinking about the. I ruined the joke, so let's just get because I was thinking
Just like,
about
what are you talking about?
the filler arc after Logtown, where the Apis arc. There you go.
Oh,
I had a brain
yeah.
fart there. Sorry. Okay, number one is Eni's Lobby.
Okay, I was just like, what? Yeah, this makes the most sense. And again, it's combined with Water 7 just because, yes, there's technically an ending in Water 7, and then they transition into Eni's Lobby. However, I do still see them both as one complete full story arc. And overall, from start to finish, it has intrigue, it has mystery. You're finding out all these new people. You have arguably one of the best tsunderes in Frankie, who literally started off his introduction to the Straw Hats by brutally beating Usopp up and stealing it. We forget about that, and now they're best friends.
Yeah,
Like,
their mechanic shops are right next to each other on the Sun.
right? And they work together all the time, but when they first met, now Frankie literally put in the work on him. Um,
Man, Eni's
Overall,
yeah.
it was an amazing city too.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, and like I've been saying, my favorite parts of One Piece are Luffy's moral center, the crew getting together, and the fighting, and it has all of those together. I mean, obviously, I want to live part. It's like, hey, do you want us to rescue you or what? Like,
Oh,
you got to give us a little bit of something. And she,
or
Robin realizes, yeah, these guys are ride or die. They're about to go to hell with me.
Soga, the introduction of Soga King, and then Soga King
Let the
shooting
wind
down.
carry my name on an island
Right.
far away.
It was it when I was younger, I hated it, but now that I'm an adult, I absolutely adore it.
Mm-hmm. This is where I caught up to the dub.
It's very funny.
Was Eni's Lobby.
Actually, no, this was my big turn into being a complete stan because I remember watching it. I was a sophomore in college and I was binging to catch up. And I remember Nami screaming at Luffy, and I'm getting getting goosebumps again. Nami screaming at Luffy because he was stuck in he was stuck between a building.
Right.
And she's like, Robin is risking her life for you. What are you doing? You're supposed to be our captain. How can we even trust you? Just laying in. Again, proving that Nami is really the heart and soul of the Straw Hats. And then he just breaks the two buildings in half because he's just like, she's doing what? And then they got Zoro out of a chimney.
Zoro can sense Kaitetsu the Third.
because Chopper had found him with it.
Yeah, weird. Let's see.
Also got introduced to Monster Point in this.
Oh yeah, Monster Point. Why does Chopper change into a giant monster? I wonder. Could it have
It's when he eats the 3 Rumble Balls.
Yeah. So is this like an awakened devil fruit power?
That's the thought that's the awakened version of a Zoan. Because in Impel Down, which to everyone who's still listening and is just like, why is Impel Down? Didn't make the top 10. Sorry.
Didn't even make any of ours. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, great arc. Absolutely amazing arc. But in there, I was disappointed with the three jailer beasts because I wanted a little bit more, and they kind of looked like a joke, even though they were monstrous. The koala, the zebra, the rhino.
Right.
And I think there was one more.
Wait.
The cow. The cow.
Yeah, there you go.
Jeez, that cow. Oh, but yeah, they were kind of a letdown, but they were awakened Zoans. So Chopper may be an awakened Zoan. We don't know. Again, this Oda hasn't told us yet.
Hey,
it's up to our imagination.
Yeah. So we got some power ups. We got I think we get Nami's new climb attack. With the bubble they have dials in them. We get Sanji. He gets a new upgrade with his flames, with his flame foot.
It's his first Dial Jambe. And it has the best 1v1s. Actually, I think it was the last 1v1s.
Yeah, everyone challenging for sure.
Opponent. Hopefully Wano helps out with that, and like even I hope Nami and Robin get a fight. They really need it. But yeah, that was like Nami had a one-on-one, Chopper had a one-on-one, Sanji.
So Sanji, his last line, he said, I'm the you are the prey and I am the hunter, because the guy was. And he, and if the devil likes spices or something like that, he flicks a cigarette.
Because he fought the wolf, and then Jabra, and then Zoro fought Kaku.
We find out Zoro has a demon inside of him or something, because he turns into Ashura.
That was one of his attacks. We haven't seen it since either.
Yes, weird. So that's an interesting thing. Yeah. So and then Luffy gets a power up. He gets the geared second and third.
First time we see it, and it completely took me, but I still remember watching it for the first time because I watched the anime, and then caught up with the manga like 2 years ago. But like when he first pulled it on Blue Note, it's just like, what's going on? What's happening? And we got introduced to Gear Third, which was the gigantification, which was also dope. So overall, absolutely amazing arc.
Yeah, and he's Lavi. Really good. And we get the backstory. Yeah, so I think this definitely deserves to be number 1. So yeah, thank you for listening. We'll we're back next week with a new chapter.
And we'll see if we can make it the entire time without having to read it, so we can do a live review.
I know I can.
We'll see. It depends on how much traction it gets online, if people are raving. But all right, Warlords. Thank you for checking us out. Please make sure to drop us a like and hit that comment button, and we'd love to hear from you.
We have 4 subscribers. For God's sakes, give us a break and hit that subscribe button, okay? For God's sakes, okay?
But take it easy, y'all. Thank you for checking us out.
Bye.